up? It's Wee Natter. I'm Mark Steele, and across the table from me is...
Jenny Steele.
And we are joining you on the week that we all got blasted by an emergency alert.
I didn't.
Did you feel sufficiently emergency for St. George's Day?
I turned my alerts off.
Well, you don't want to know about a very wordy text message.
No.
Nope, not interested. My house could be literally flooded away. I don't care. Let me have my sleep. Is that your...
I could have been on a call and I just didn't want to get blasted in my eardrum. I'd get tinnitus or something like that.
I suppose. That'd be an awful prank, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It's a bit like the Dom Jolly pranks of, I hate to admit how long ago now, turned up to 11 doing that. Yeah. And actually reading about it, it turns out I've got the equipment in my house to send fake alerts.
Have you?
It's highly illegal, but I'm sure messages like, we can hear you, number 6, or Tories don't need to bring ID to the polling station, just tell them who you're voting for. Yeah. It'll all go down well. It'll be fine. It'll all go down well. And with the strikes over and the posties back at work, the postbag has arrived. And last time we asked you, what is a really small thing that winds you up? And Age has been in touch saying people who constantly cut you off when you're having a conversation and in some cases follow up with exactly what you were saying.
Is this like face-to-face or like on a conversation on the telephone with customer service or a bit of both, Age? I mean, it's a bit of both.
I would have thought this is a face-to-face thing.
Do you think?
I've seen it happen in reality where you're telling a story and someone's like, oh, I know this one. Yeah, it turns out... That is really annoying.
Yeah.
I see where you're coming from there, Age.
Yes.
Matthew Summers has also been in touch, agreeing with Jenny.
Ooh, that's what I like to hear, Matthew.
Which means the world is broken. Saying yes, people saying And I noticed I just started out with but very different. Anytime my niece said I would shout immediately. It works because she never says or actually anything else since she stopped talking to me.
You know, once you've realised somebody says a lot, you start listening for it and it gets even more irritating. So, you know, when you listen to an interview on certain talk radio stations, the person starts off with and you just think, right, they're a So you find yourself concentrating, not really on what they're saying, but on the next time that they're going to say the word and you know it's going to be after about 2 words.
Only kidding. Or am I? And on that note, let's have a wee natter. I made the mistake recently, dear listener, of allowing my parents to visit. It happens, but it came with an extra notch of peril this time.
Ooh.
Which makes it sound quite exciting and quite dramatic, doesn't it? But no, they turned up with a big folder in hand. What do you think that folder was?
It's This Is Your Life, isn't it?
Oh my goodness, it's the big red folder.
I can't do that with an Irish accent. It used to be Eamon Andrews, isn't it? This is your life. Was that good? No.
I'm not sure how to even respond to that one. That's how bad that was. But no, it was not my permanent record either, and it was not the big red folder that you're talking about either. It was the old awards and snippets that they collected over the years. Yeah, everything starting from the beginning with the announcement of my birth.
Oh, really?
In the Press and Journal. Which is not even in the area I was born, but we'll get over it. To a BTEC I forgot I'd even achieved. So a lot of old stuff in there. But it did get me wondering, what is the oldest thing you own but still use regularly? I mean, I don't use my BTEC every day, but I do have T-shirts now that are old enough to drink.
Yeah.
So it's got me wondering, what is that thing that you still got in your life that is actually quite old, but you still use all the time?
My teeth.
Your teeth. Well, you're right, because if yours were anything like mine, they haven't changed since you lost your first set when you were a kid, and that's been a wee while ago. So there's teeth, there's T-shirts, crockery, cutlery, things like that. You never change those, do you?
No, you don't.
You still use them 20 years later until eventually enough of them break that you haven't got enough to do a full dinner set.
Yeah.
And only at that point you buy your new set. So I'm opening this up to you, dear listener. What is the oldest thing that you still use regularly? And I'd love to hear how old it is as well. A couple ways to get in touch, on the socials, at Solid Radio UK or at Solid Sooty. Or if you're on Spotify, you'll see the question pop up at the top of the episode. You can tap on it and stick your answer in there and share your ancient treasures in the next episode.
Oh, update on the mouse front, because we spoke last week. They've said we'd discovered a mouse nest in the garage, didn't we? Even though we'd got Sooty around and Oscar, they still managed to creep in, build a nest, and have babies in a bag of bark, didn't they?
Yes. So you were saying there was a moose loose about this hoose.
I did, yes.
Yeah, and there's a selection of cats in the neighbourhood that you happen to know the name of all of them, but we'll get over that.
Yeah,
there are a selection of cats in the neighbourhood who had paid no interest to the moose loose about this hoose.
That's right, that's right.
That is the latest on it.
Yeah.
Okay?
So I put it on Sooty's Facebook page just to ask if I could borrow a chief mouser for the day. I was inundated. Well, Sooty was inundated with responses. Think Ria offered to loan me Morris. He's a fantastic mouse catcher. Morris lives in Norwich.
Morris is in Morris Minor.
No, Morris is what's its brother?
No, I'm
Morgan's. Morgan's brother, Morris.
I will follow whatever you're saying. Go, okay, yep.
Morgan's brother, is that Henry? I always get Morris and Henry mixed up. I'm going to wait now for Ria to correct me, because I do always get those two boys mixed up. But I had a lovely response from Matthew Summers regarding Alfie. Now, Alfie unfortunately passed away last November, but I just want to read to you what Matthew put.
Okay, go for it.
So Matthew said, if Alfie was still with us, I would loan him to you to help. 9 years ago, my next door neighbour asked his girlfriend to move in. She was reluctant due to the ongoing mouse problem our street had. I know. Hope this ain't going to be our street. At the same time, I started letting Alfie out. A couple of weeks later, there was no mouse problem and the girlfriend moved in. 8.5 years later, and Alfie's career consisted of, wait for this, 289 mice and 9 rats. We don't count the 6 birds. We'll forget about the birds. No, we'll let Alfie off with the birds. Unfortunately, Alfie passed away in November last year, and since March there has been an elusive mouse or rat scurrying around the neighbour's loft. Alfie was such a champion mouser. So I think that's just a little bit of a shout out for Alfie, really, as a remembrance to how good Alfie was catching the meeskuses and the rats.
Yeah, but now the mice have actually got a chance at doing the thing. And you're talking about all sorts of mice in the same view here. You know, we're not talking about house mice, we're talking about a field mouse. It had no interest in coming indoors.
No, you see, my parents used to run a pest control business, and I did text my brother and I said, we've got a mouse nest in the garage. What should I do? Now, he said that from October to spring, they tend to come indoors and find somewhere to nest. And obviously, if there's food around, which there were, I used to keep the bird seed in there. Now, this time of year, they're no interest in being in, so they're more or less out and about. So I think we've done it now. I think we've got rid of that mouse nest. And I tell you what, though, the next day, you know where we freed the mice? I saw Alfie back again. I've got Alfie on the brain now, Matthew. Oscar back again.
Which is another cat, not just like a random kid on the street called Oscar.
No, there was stalking. There was walking up and down where we disposed of the mice. So I don't think those mice are anymore, unfortunately.
Well, there's a cheery note to end on.
Yeah, sorry.
Thanks for that. Well, just to get us out of that pit, I think every time there's a mouse that is loose about your house, you have to sing that jingle. I don't think you have to eat the sweeties anymore. I think that's a bit frowned upon. But... Can
Ria just let me know as well on the socials, is Morris Morgan's brother or is it Henry? I can't remember which one of the two is Morris's brother, his twin.
You make it sound like you're trying to remember family members here. We are
family members.
We're talking a couple of cats. I know they're very important internet cats and all that, but it's not like you're going to a family wedding going, you know, which one is actually up on the altar today?
Yeah, but it's bugging me now.
This isn't going to take a lot of imagination, but I need you to follow me into this little journey that we're going on, both you, dear listener, and you, Jenny, as well. Imagine you need to make an overnight trip, whether it's for holiday or work or whatever. The important bit is you're going on an overnight trip.
Yeah.
When that happens, how do you find the first night's sleep?
That's a bit of a tricky one, isn't it? Because I don't sleep well when I'm away from home. I don't know why. I can't seem to settle down.
So it's generally a bit rough, isn't it? So I was just reading that scientists know about what they call it the first night effect when they're doing this sort of research. And they think it's because only half your brain is sleeping when you sleep somewhere that you don't really know.
Oh.
So you're only sort of getting half a night's sleep, even if you manage to get your full 8 hours, because your brain's going over in halves. Yeah, see, it's all a bit clever. It would explain a lot. And it'd also explain why you're more comfortable in a chain hotel in the Badlands versus a luxury resort.
Really?
Yeah, because you've seen the chain hotel a million times before.
I suppose so. So it's a bit more familiar, isn't it? And certain chain ones are guaranteed a good night's sleep or you get your money back. Yeah. Not saying which one, but that is the thing.
I will take your word for it. But if we're talking about messed up sleep, which is kind of what happens when you have to do something out of your normal, am I the only one that occasionally wakes up slightly paralysed?
I've got to say, I've never woke up feeling slightly paralysed.
For the first few seconds, all you can do is open your eyes. You can't really move. It does pass and clear fairly quickly, but it is proper scary when you're in that moment. It just cannot move when you first wake up.
I've not suffered that.
Oh.
The humour. Maybe
I need to find a way to offer it as a hotel experience to thrill seekers then. I'll make tens of pounds out of it. I cannot believe I'm asking this question in public, but have you, I'm asking you, dear listener, I'm asking you, Jenny, as well, ever seen a UFO or lights in the sky?
Seen lights in the sky?
What, proper like aliens? Woo-hoo,
no, like flashy lights, and it's coming from some rave somewhere in the next field.
Well, yeah, if it's followed by whistle sounds like oods, yeah, it's generally a rave.
That sort of thing.
But imagine the scene. It's a dark night in Florida. So if you're aware of Florida Man, dear listener, you're already a million miles ahead on this story. But we're in Florida. It's a dark night sky. It's dark. And you see some lights in the sky. And Taylor Swift songs can be heard gently emanating on the breeze. I don't know why they'd be gently emanating, but there are Taylor Swift songs on the breeze. What do you think is going on?
Have I got an A, B or C? Which Taylor Swift song? It helps me decide.
It could be any of them, he says, not remembering the title of any Taylor Swift song in this moment. But it's a UFO if that happened, isn't it? That's where your first thought would go. Tay, bit of lights in the sky, you're thinking UFO, aren't you?
All right, then I'm thinking UFO, yeah.
No, it's a Tay concert. That's what's going on. But they had one out there and they managed to freak out the residents in that part of Florida to the point they thought aliens had arrived. But seeing how well that went down, I'm tempted to set up my own fake UFO landing. Flash some lights on the moors and blast out some Mario Speedwagon while running around dressed as an alien. The only worry I've got is that some old dear will just turn up and offer me a cup of tea.
Oh, they will.
They did when the Beetle did it.
I've had a really bad cold this last week.
Are you fishing for sympathy here? Is that what you're shooting for?
No, sore throat and a cold. And sometimes you feel a bit kind of yucky, but I have discovered that there's a little bit of a bonus of not being able to taste or smell anything this week. I take omega-3 fish oils, but it's supposed to be good for your bones, your eyesight, and your brain, and your immune system. So I thought, let's try it. Taking it normally, you've got to have a drink ready to have as soon as you take your spoonful, because I can't stand the taste. But this time, because I can't taste anything, bonus with having a cold, I could take a couple of spoonfuls and I couldn't taste a thing. Couldn't smell it, couldn't taste a thing. You tried it. What did you say you felt it tasted of?
The fish oil, it tastes of fish. So this is the bit I don't get.
You said something else.
Oh no, it tasted a bit like clove rock. Clove rock, which is a sweet tea that's made of clove oil. Why it exists as a thing, I have no idea. But I had a friend who used to be practically addicted to this stuff. That's all he'd buy from the sweet shop. I assume he had some sort of tooth rot going on. That's how he numbed it.
Yeah.
It was very much, I will go to the sweet shop and I will make up for going to the sweet shop by buying these sweets every day. But yeah, that's what it tasted like to me. I'm not particularly offended at it, but I'm confused by your good self because you will eat fish and chips.
Yeah.
But you will not have fish oil. What's going on there?
I don't know. I took it one day and I was a bit slow picking the cup of juice up and I was like, had the gagging reflex. But it was just like, it was really awful.
Well, that explains the stains all over the kitchen cupboards then. I feel like I'm setting myself up asking this, but how would you describe my cooking skills?
Not very good.
Yeah, I believe I can make a very tasty macaroni cheese.
Yeah, but last time you did it, we had to chuck the saucepan away.
I did destroy a pot, and it could be used to fill potholes, but in my opinion, if you can't taste the cheese from 10 yards away, you're not doing it right. And this is me telling you, dear listener, directly here. If you buy strength 1, 2, or 3 cheese, I'm disappointed in you.
Yeah.
I'm not angry. I'm disappointed. That's not cheese. That's plastic. It's got the taste of cheese when you eat it. It's got to overwhelm every other flavour in whatever you're doing. That's how you make macaroni cheese.
Well, yours did, to be fair.
Yeah, and that's how you make it properly. The only reason I'm bringing this up was there's a new story about a restaurant this week that decided to offer flambe pizza.
Flambe pizza? Ooh.
How do you think it went down?
How do you flambe a pizza?
You pour alcohol in it and light it on fire.
Wow.
How do you think that went?
Not very good.
Yeah, you're tragically right. It did set the restaurant on fire. And I'm surprised that I haven't ended up with Flambe House yet when I've been cooking.
I am surprised as well.
Flambe House, when I say out loud, it sounds like a TV show where every attempt to cook ends up with a fire brigade making an appearance.
That's quite good, actually. Flambe House with Mark Steele.
I might pitch it to Channel 4. I'm sure they could pop a tenner in the pot for it.
But you're the guy that sits and eats pork scratchings in a pub, aren't you? Which reminds me of Jim Royal.
If I manage to set the house on fire with pork scratchings, something's gone horribly wrong. And then, talking on the subject of pots, am I allowed to make a batch of my macaroni cheese yet?
No, because I've got copper bottom pots. 3 for 2 in Sainsbury's, you know what I'm saying? I'll have to go out and buy a £2 pot from Wilko so you can use it, so it don't matter if we have to chuck it away after.
But I never set the house on fire, I just destroyed a pot. That was, unfortunately, Wee Natter. I was Mark Steele, and across the table from me was...
Jenny Steele.
And if you're listening to this fine podcast and have not yet hit the subscribe button, do you know what you got to do? Go into your podcatcher, hit the subscribe button.
Why don't we arrange it so that everybody's devices have an alert and then they don't turn off until they've hit the subscribe button? Is that legal? I
do have the technology to generate those alerts to say you must subscribe to ensure that you're not going to run into trouble. The problem is it's highly illegal and the range on the thing is about a couple of meters. So we'd have to drive down literally every street in the country. It'd be a very expensive exercise. So instead, dear listener, what I want you to do is anyone you encounter in your normal week, so we've done the postman, we've done the bus driver and all that, maybe the person at checkout you've never spoken to before, maybe when you're standing in the queue at the kiosk for your fags, you say, all right, Wee Natter on your podcast, check it out.
Lottery tickets, sweeties, that sort of thing. What about the self-service checkouts, though? You might have to call somebody over and pretend you've got an issue in the bagging area.
Yeah, I was about to say you could try and tell the machine, but I don't think it would end well. And on that note, we'll catch you next time.
Yeah, bye.